Okay, so if your guitar string keeps breaking, it's more than likely going to be in the same place. So if it's the same string, so we trace that string back to the area that it keeps breaking in, and then that's where you find out where the issue is, because this is probably a problem with your guitar, is more than it is with your strings or your playing. And in this one, the G string keeps on breaking, so I guess we're going to look inside there. Right inside the hole. That was an unintentional sound weird, but let's keep going. Excuse me. And I'm going to show you how we go about finding the area that the string is breaking and fixing that area. If it's one of your tuners, which I'd say is probably most of the time, this is where it's at if it's not in your saddle or bridge. If it's in one of your tuners, I'm going to tell you how to fix that right now, where it won't keep happening. And you could probably use the old strings that you got. You see in there, it's got just a little sharp edge that the strings don't like. The metal doesn't like coming against sharp metal and being pressed on. More than likely, if you find it, your string is breaking down in this area, it could be your nuts, or around your saddle could be sharp. So we trace it back, but it wasn't up here. It wasn't down here this time, so it keeps on breaking up here. So if you have any old strings around, you might want to get them out. This way you won't need, because a lot of people don't have sandpaper or anything like that laying around the house. But more likely you might have an old string. So get the one with the thickest gauge, and we're going to use this to sand. Like we're going to use it like back and forth sandpaper on the inside of the tuner. And you can use these also as sandpaper around the bridges and saddles, but you want to make sure that you're using the smaller ones towards bridges and saddles. You could use the thicker ones at first if you're going through a tuner, because you start with a heavier gauge and they'll shave more off. And then you go to a lower gauge to smooth it out, as you would with the sandpaper. Like you start with the lower grit, and it gets that really harsh spot, and then you go with the softer grit to smooth it out. So right now I'm starting with the heavier gauge string, and yeah, you get the picture. It's pretty self-explanatory from here on out, honestly. But it takes a while, so be patient. Take your time, and you'll see the little metal shards coming off and falling onto your wood of your guitar. And after you check it out, you can feel with your fingers, and see right in here, still feels a little bit rough right there, where the edge that was I could kind of see where the edge was that was getting the string, but that's gone. However, I still want to smooth it out a little more, so I'm going to go to a lighter gauge string, one of the lighter gauges, and use that just to smooth it out a little bit. And the good thing about this process is it gets in and out, and like sandpaper normally wouldn't. However, when you are done doing this, you do want to take some, if you have sandpaper or a steel wool, just maybe something that would, or the lightest gauge you can possibly find, and something just to smooth it out to a really nice soft finish, But even if you have to go with your lightest gauge string, and as I can see down here, there was no problems with the bridge or the saddle or the nut. That was an issue. But if you do have a problem with your bridge, you can always just take like I said, the lightest gauge you can find, and just a little bit back and forth on there. And you don't want to do too much, because if you do too much, it'll lower the intonation on your guitar. So you just want to get that edge off. We're not looking to sand it down. We're just looking to smooth it out. So you can always take a string and go a little bit back and forth on that, and it should work just fine. Take your time with it. Because the longer you take with it, the nicer it's going to turn out, and the less likely your string is to break. And that takes more time repairing or restringing than it does for a few more minutes to make sure it came out the way you wanted it. And as you can see, I'm dealing with the 12 string here, and what I'd like to recommend is that you buy the same strings that you were using before. That way you only have to change one of the strings out instead of all 12 of them, in case your gauges don't match up. As you can see, I use the same strings that I was before, so that I only have to change this one string out, and the rest, which were in pretty good shape because these were breaking fairly fast, they're still good. And now I have other strings that I can use. I hope this helped, and enjoy playing.